plans for the day. I'm looking through the newspaper. What's the main news? All the headlines are about English lesson in Iran. Everybody is there. You should have a wonderful day. What do you mean? We'll take plenty visit lesson. Our task is to find out about reading. How do I feel? Right? I'm ready. Come on, my old friend.
I received a telegram from Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson. Imagine they are coming to our lesson. Well, let's look at the screen and remember who they are. Sherlock Holmes is a fictional character created by Scottish writer Arthur Conan Doyle. Well, everybody knows that he lived in London on Baker Street and shared his rooms with his friend and dedicated assistant, Dr. John Watson. Well, according to books, the Sherlock Holmes house where he lived now is a museum. In his free time, he enjoyed playing the violin and smoking a pipe. Yes, we can come in, please. We are waiting for you. This way, please.
Looking at these speeches, I can see that you are going to talk about the size of London.
Indeed, we've gathered here to talk about sights of London, and we are learning new facts about London and other cities, and of course countries. And we are going to talk about famous people and their achievements, and of course watching presentations and videos. So I want you to tell us the theme of our lesson. Traveling. Well, the theme of our lesson is
Traveling around the UK.
Around the UK. Yes, you are right. Well, now I want you to listen to some information about countries of the United Kingdom. Please come here, please.
The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland has 4 historic past. England with its capital in London, Scotland with its capital in Edinburgh, Wales with its capital in Cardiff, and Northern Ireland with its capital in Belfast. The floral symbol of England is the red rose. The Welsh symbol is the leek. There is a legend according to which there was a battle between the Saxons and the Welsh on the annual field. St. David ordered the Welsh soldiers to attach leaves to their headdress to distinguish to their enemies from their enemy. Thanks to such a wise decision, the Welsh warriors won. In memory of this Christian saint, the leek became the symbol of Wales. According to folk tradition, on the 1st of March, the inhabitants of Wales attach yellow daffodil flowers and leaves closest relating St. David.
The Irish symbol is another wild plant called the shamrock. This plant helped St. Patrick explain to the people of his country what the Holy Trinity is. The Scottish symbol is another wild plant called the thistle. According to the legend, the Scandinavians came in planned to attack a Scottish village. But since the Scots knew they were coming, and they started to prepare for war. Late at night, the Scandinavians came in their bare feet so as not to awake the Scots in the village. But thorns of thistle hurt their bare feet. The host of plain peace, the Sirens, and the Scots awoke to fight the enemy. This plant saved their lives.
Okay, thank you, girls. Well, let's continue our journey walking around London. As you know, London is the capital of the United Kingdom, and it is a very beautiful city. London has a lot of places to visit. For example, museums, cinemas, theaters, art galleries, and so on.
traditional place for people to meet. The statue of national hero Admiral Nelson stands there.
The Houses of Parliament. It is a place where the British government sits.
Big Ben. It is a clock in the tower with a big bell. You can hear it every hour.
Tower Bridge. It is the oldest and famous bridge across the Thames.
Tower of London. It has a long history. In the past, it was a fortress, a prison, a castle, and a zoo. Nowadays, this building is a very popular museum. It was built to protect the city from the enemies. There are a lot of ravens at this place. There is a legend that without them, the tower will fall.
Buckingham Palace. It is the London home of the Queen. Changing the guards to explain that the palace is open to public.
Oxford Street. It is the biggest shopping street in London. There are 548 shops in Oxford Street. Each Christmas, the street is decorated with festive lights.
The Greenwich Observatory. It is the center of time and space. The prime meridian of the Earth, which divides east from west, passes there.
Madame Tussauds. It is a famous museum of wax figures. It has wax figures of all the famous people in the world.
The London Eye. It is the biggest observation wheel in the world. It is situated on the banks of the river in central London. Its height is 135 meters.
Thank you, girls. Take your seat. Now let's look at the map. Well, then listen to the conversation between Tanya and Kurt and tick the places where they are going to visit.
Hello?
Hello, this is Kurt. Is that you, Tanya?
Yes, hello, Kurt. I was just about to call you.
Really? I've been thinking about our plans for tomorrow. Do you still feel like taking a day tour around London?
Definitely. That's a fantastic idea. Any suggestions?
Actually, I've got plenty of ideas. Have you thought of anything you'd like to do or places you'd like to visit?
I guess I'd be happy to see some sort of exhibition.
An exhibition? Have you heard of the Guinness World of Records?
Well,
It's actually the famous Guinness Book of Records brought to life. They've got everything there. Models, videos and life-size exhibits. I think it would be a great start to the day and I bet you'll really enjoy it.
sounds fine to me.
We could also go to see the Wallace collection. You know, French art and sculpture of the 17th and 18th centuries. How about that?
I'd rather go to the Guinness thing.
Okay, how about popping into St Martin in the Fields later on? It's not very far. It's at the Charing Cross tube station.
Isn't it that famous church next to the National Gallery?
That's right. If we are lucky, we may hear some good music there.
All right, but I assume by that time we'd be ready for a snack.
I agree. I know of a great place near there.
Great. Well, what time shall we meet then?
How about 10 o'clock at my place?
Great. See you tomorrow.
Don't be late. Bye.
Questions? Next one.
Hello?
Here, somewhere.
Hello, this is Kurt. Is that you, Tanya?
Yes, hello, Kurt. I was just about to call you.
Really? I've been thinking about our plans for tomorrow. Do you still feel like taking a day tour around London?
Definitely. That's a fantastic idea. Any suggestions?
Actually, I've got plenty of ideas. Have you thought of anything you'd like to do or places you'd like to visit?
I guess I'd be happy to see some sort of exhibition.
An exhibition? Have you heard of the Guinness World of Records?
Well,
It's actually the famous Guinness Book of Records brought to life. They've got everything there. Models, videos and life-size exhibits. I think it would be a great start to the day and I bet you'll really enjoy it.
sounds fine to me.
We could also go to see the Wallace collection. You know, French art and sculpture of the 17th and 18th centuries. How about that?
I'd rather go to the Guinness thing.
Okay, how about popping into St Martin in the Fields later on? It's not very far. It's at the Charing Cross tube station.
Isn't it that famous church next to the National Gallery?
That's right. If we are lucky, we may hear some good music there.
All right, but I assume by that time we'd be ready for a snack.
I agree. I know of a great place near there.
Great. Well, what time shall we meet then?
How about 10 o'clock at my place?
Great. See you tomorrow.
Don't be late. Bye.
And what variants can you choose? C. C. Now let's check. You got right?
Yes.
Yes. They can go to the Wallace Collection, National Gallery, St. Martin in the Fields, and Charing Cross Station. Well, you can see the map of London, and I think all of you like to guess some riddles and to solve some puzzles. Now I invite here Sushan, and I want you to guess at the landmark and find it on the map.
Okay, you start from St. Luke's Church and go straight up onto the Buckingham Palace. Then you must turn left and go straight onto the Wellington Arch. You turn right, go till the cross and turn right again, and go onto the Queen Victoria Memorial. Then you turn left and go onto the St. James's Palace. You must turn right and go onto the Piccadilly Circus. Then you must go around Piccadilly Circus and you'll see it across the street.
Is it Trafalgar Square?
Yes.
Good. Well, looking at this screen, at this picture, can you imagine who it is?
Charles Chaplin.
Yes, you're right. It is Charles Chaplin. And Charles Chaplin was an English actor, comedian, movie maker, and screenwriter. And he was famous for silent films. Now, Dasha will tell us more about him. Come here, please.
Огни большого города.
He was born in London. His parents worked in music hall. His parents died soon after his birth. After the church is his mother. Charles first performed in music hall at the age of 5. In 1900, when he was 11, his father held to them in the role of the Golden Girl in the Hitman serial in the London Modern. He became a clerk in Fred comedy companion. He became world famous very quickly. He also formed his own independent collection comedy, Charles Chaplin Film Corporation, in 1918, which made him a very wealthy man. Short comedy films such as A Dog's Life, Payday, City Lights, great silent film The King made him famous. Charles Chaplin died on Christmas Day in 1977 when he was 88.
Thank you, Dasha. Let's start. I would like to stop this video and because And you can see on this picture the procession of bands and actors, actresses, guests, and teachers, students who is walking through the town, going to the Shakespeare's grave to lay flowers. Now I would like Ksusha come here.
William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born on the 23rd of April in 1584 in Stratford-upon-Avon. William went to a grammar school in Stratford and had quite a good education. There he learned to love reading, poetry, and theatre. In London, Shakespeare began to act and to write plays at a well-known acting company. Most of his plays were performed in the New Globe Theatre. In 1613, he stopped writing and went to live in Stratford, where he died in 1616.
Shakespeare wrote 37 magnificent sonnets and more than 100 plays. The best known are Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, Macbeth, and Othello. Now, our students prepared their skin based upon his plays, King Lear. So I invite you to plunge into this historical era. Come here, please.
My dear daughters, I am very old and tired. I can't be the king of Britain anymore. I want to divide the country into 3 parts and give one part to each of you. And you'll be the queens of your parts, but first you must tell me how much you love me.
My dear father, I love you very much. I love you more than my beauty, more than my life. No child loves his father more than I do.
If only you mean for me. You are the dearest man in my life. I can't imagine myself without you.
I'm very glad to hear that. And what would you like to tell me, Cordelia?
I don't understand why my sister says they love you more anything else. They're married. Don't they love their husband? You're my father, and of course I love you. But when I'm married, I love my husband too.
Oh, right, think you've told me. I am disappointed. I don't have such a daughter. You'll get nothing. Go away.
It goes without saying that Liverpool has become famous thanks to the legendary musical bands, the Beatles. So I want you to watch a video about Liverpool.
Liverpool, just over the border in England, is a gritty but surprisingly enjoyable city. It offers a fascinating urban contrast to the natural splendors of Wales. It's an interesting stop both for Beatles fans and for those who'd like to look urban Britain straight in the eyes. The city, once run down and pretty grim, is enjoying a renaissance. Albert Dock is the centerpiece. Opened in 1846 by Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's husband, the docks enclose 7 acres of water. It prospered as one corner of the triangular commerce of the 18th century slave trade. The Merseyside Maritime Museum tells the story of the port of what was the second city of the British Empire. After the shipping of slaves was outlawed in Britain in the early 1800s, Liverpool kept its port busy as a transfer point for emigrants. Whether your ancestors came from Scandinavia, Ukraine, Ireland, or Wales, there's a good chance they left Europe from this port. Between 1830 and 1930, 9 million immigrants sailed from Liverpool to find their dreams in the new world. Back in the 1960s, the Beatles. The Beatles story is a museum about the band that made rock and roll a worldwide phenomenon. Many people visit Liverpool just to remember John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Okay, folks, on the right-hand side is the McConnelly House. John and Paul wrote some of their famous hits here in this house.
For a proper Beatle pilgrimage, you need to take a Beatles tour. Several companies run tours daily, from slick big buses to more personal minibus tours. Guides are fountains of Beatle trivia, giving you the entire rundown on every site in town associated with the group and its music.
And it was in this poor pop-out school in Liverpool that the Beatles were born and grew up. And In fact, dreamers started living in Admiral Grove and the riots were even going past the pub where his mother had to work to pay for the rent. This is the neighbourhood known to the people of Liverpool as Penny Lane, and Paul McCartney and all the Beatles would be coming here as young boys. Now this is the shelter in the middle of the roundabout, and Paul sings about behind the shelter in the middle of the roundabout there's a pretty nurse selling poppies from a tray. Then you've got the bank on the corner with the American bank manager, and Paul McCartney sings, on the corner there's a banker with a motor car, the little children laughing behind his back. Further down the road is the fire station with the clean machine. On the corner there's a barber showing photographs of all the heads he's had the pleasure to have known. All the people stop and say hello. You've got all these things that you see throughout the year that Paul McCartney.
So I want you to sing this song. Let's sing it. Well, stand up. What country we are going to visit this time? Well, do you recognize this part of the UK?
Yes, it is Scotland.
Yes, you are right. This is Scotland.
Scotland is the third part of the territory of the British Isles. Its population is not very big.
The Highlands of Scotland are the oldest mountains in the world.
There are many lakes in Scotland. The best known is Loch Ness. People think that a large monster lives there.
This is Edinburgh Castle. It is Glasgow, Scotland's biggest city.
Edinburgh is a venue of the world-famous Festival of Music and Drama. The first festival was 1947.
The guild is a relic of the time when system existed Highland. Everybody had the same family name like MacDonald's or McGregor.
Bagpipe is Scotland's national instrument. The Scottish piper is very acute.
Present to your attention one composition was written by the Scottish poet Robert Burns, and by the way, this poem is so famous because even Prince Charles, the eldest son of the Queen Elizabeth II, read it to the whole country. Now let's listen.
My heart's in the Highlands. My heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands of chasing the deer, chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the North, the birthplace of valour, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I rove, the hills of the Highlands, forever I love.
Robert Burns was one of the greatest Scottish poets. He was born in a poor family. He is widely regarded as the national poet of Scotland. His works were written in Scottish.
He got little school education. He could never earn enough money to support his family. He lived in great poverty all his life. He was a poetic genius. Burns elder wrote many poems in English. His best poems are The Jolly Beggars, Halloween, and others. Burns travelled a lot about Scotland, collecting popular folk songs. Many of his poems were put to music.
The poet's song, "Oh My Love Is Like a Red Rose," is one of the most loved lyrical songs. Many of songs he devoted to his wife. Burns' songs are the soul of music.
Oh, my love is like a red rose that is newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that is sweetly played in tune. As fair are you, my lovely lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love you still, my dear, till all the seas go dry.
The celebration is usually
people like Burns' poetry because it is very close to people's life. The name of Robert Burns is still alive. Every year, on the 25th of January, Burns' Night is celebrated not only in Scotland, but throughout Britain and the Scottish-speaking world.
Is our quiz. Well, you'll have to answer questions, putting the right variants, and getting cards. Now, Maxim will help me. Okay. Now, let's begin. I wish you good luck. Wish you success. Well, the first question. What four historic parts does the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland consist of? Well, read and answer, please. Susha? 8. Now let's check. Yes. The next question. The Tower of London is prison, a museum, or a shop? Ksusha? B. Museum. Yes, you're right. Next question. Which bridge is in London? Again, Susha. Susha, please. B. Tower Bridge. Let's check. Tower Bridge. The next question. The floral symbol of England is Alina. Yes, the right first. The Scottish symbol is Again, Susha. The thistle. You're right. How did the thistle one save the country? Let's count your cards and determine 3 winners. I will give you sweet prize too. Well, telling the truth, I would like to give out these sweet prizes to the other participants of the quiz because they tried but did not win. To sum up our event, I would like I offer you 2 views. Well, if you like our party, please show us these smiling cards. If not, this sad one. Oh, I'm very glad. How did you like this our party? Well, Diana?
It was interesting to sing some.
Good. Maybe somebody else?
I like the green and the reciting words.
Good.
I was greatly impressed by Skim's video about Liverpool video, except from silent films.
Mr. Holmes, hurry back. On the 24th Baker Street, Someone stole the contest. Expand the green.
Okay. We have to hide it, my friend. Our soft case is waiting for us. Thank you for us.
I enjoyed this lesson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your coming. Well, we wish you the best. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, my dears, our lesson has come to an end. I want to thank you for participating in our virtual traveling around the UK, and